Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Picks on Politics. I'm Dan Manarino, and this past week we learned that dozens of teachers and administrators in the New York City Department of Education will be placed on unpaid leave. The reason, allegedly submitting fake COVID-19 vaccination cards when the city implemented the mandate. The accused staffers were told to not return to work after spring break and told they are placed on leave without pay. Spokesperson for the Department of Education releasing a statement saying fraudulent vaccination cards are not only illegal, they undermine the best line of protection that our schools have against COVID-19. However, the teachers union sent the DOE a letter claiming the accusations are unproven. Part of their statement reading, quote, "It is wholly improper for the DOE to unilaterally remove UFT members from the payroll based on mere conjecture that vaccination documentation is fraudulent," end quote. There's a lot to discuss here, and we are going on the record with New York Schools Chancellor David Banks. And the Chancellor is joining me now, and there's certainly a lot to talk about. Thank you for being here, Chancellor, on Picks on Politics. Good to see you.
Certainly my pleasure to be with you, Dan.
And, Chancellor, I do want to begin with those allegations, right, of some teachers submitting fake vaccination cards. What can you tell us about the investigation here?
Well, the investigation was pretty wide, and what it really uncovered was that we had less than 100 staffers who it certainly looks to us as though they were fraudulent in saying that they were fully vaccinated when they were not. And what we've essentially said is that when it's time to come back to work on Monday, they can't return unless they can prove that their vaccination status was legit. If it was, they're welcome back. But if they cannot, they will be on unpaid leave and ultimately may be terminated.
Unpaid leave for how long? Until they get vaccinated?
Well, either until they get vaccinated, right, or until this matter is fully cleared up. We don't expect to have this in limbo very long. The biggest issue here really is that, it is our first line of defense. It's the reason why we've been able to keep our schools really, really safe, is because everybody has been vaccinated. Yeah. And it's really important, not only for our kids, but also for their colleagues as well, to know that the people working next to them have been fully vaccinated. And
I do want to get to some real important topics in the classroom, but lastly on this, you saw the UFT statement there. How was the Education Department certain that those cards were fake?
Well, our investigators have gone through an entire, really a deep process and that covered thousands of teachers, and it was less than 100. So this is a small population of staffers, and we feel pretty secure. Now, listen, we're hoping that if they can produce something that we have not had access to, that would be great. But we feel like this is a small group, and our investigation was pretty thorough.
All right, Chancellor, on a similar note, there's been a lot of back and forth this week when and where to wear masks on public transit, right? And then there's what's going on in the classroom. Any new insider information on a timeline of when masks will be dropped for the kids under the age of 5? A lot of parents wondering here.
Yeah, no, and I've heard from parents all over, and I've visited a lot of early childhood centers over the last few weeks as well. I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to remove those masks soon enough, but that determination will be made by the mayor. Together, we're working together on that. We're talking to the Department of Health, Commission of Health, and so things are looking more promising. We're concerned about this upsurge, but fingers crossed, something will be happening soon enough. But ultimately, the mayor is the one who will make that determination and that announcement.
Yeah, you know me, I'm always looking for specifics here. When you say soon enough, does that mean end of April, beginning of May?
I couldn't tell you that definitively.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we're just being very hopeful.
I get you. And there's also been this talks behind the scenes that the Department of Education might be working on this remote option permanently for some specific students. Is that just a rumor, or is it actually being considered?
It's absolutely being considered. One of the things we've done is we've talked to parents and families all across the city. We've been listening. And many of the parents, a subset of parents who have said, my child did very well virtually. And would you consider having a virtual academy where they can learn full-time virtually?
Wow.
And why not? And so we're exploring that. We haven't made an official announcement about it yet, but it is something that we're taking very seriously.
Yeah.
It can also serve as a lab, really, for other schools where kids are going full-time, but there's some best promising practices around virtual learning that I think we can take advantage of for all of our kids.
And would those be for anybody eligible or just for a specific group?
Probably for those who are interested. So again, it's work that's happening right now. We've got a group of people that are working on it. and we'll determine in the coming days, whether it'll be high school, middle school. That'll be announced soon enough.
Chancellor, from COVID to crime, city obviously dealing with such an increase here. You see it first and foremost. You're on the front lines, right? The Brooklyn subway shooting happened when kids were just traveling to school, which kind of brought this whole conversation of detectors in the subway. And that got me thinking to ask you about some schools have metal detectors. Are you in favor of those and adding more?
I'm in favor of anything that will continue to help our kids be safe. Now, one of the things that we've heard from kids across New York City is that they want to be safe, but they don't really like this process of going through metal detectors. It's a feeling, if anybody was going through it, almost of like going to prison every day before you go to your English class. It doesn't feel good. So we're actually had a number of meetings with different companies who've been developing a technology that will feel a lot less invasive. We want them to be safe, but we also don't want them to have this feeling where they're being dehumanized in the process. Imagine going through that every single day going to school. So all the options are on the table. There's no company that we've seen yet that has fully developed this technology, but we think we're getting a lot closer.
Understood. And let's talk about what's happening inside the classroom as well. You have been out there each and every day in the schools. You're in one right now. So let's talk about the expansion of gifted and talented. Former Mayor de Blasio got rid of it, right, to promote what he said was racial and class equity. Now, we know the mayor from the very beginning, Mayor Adams, that is, opposed that decision. Why do you feel differently?
I feel differently because the parents and the families around New York City feel differently.
Yeah.
Again, this is an administration which is going to be responsive to the needs and the desires of our families across New York City. You should know this. 120,000 families have left our New York City public schools in the last 5 years. I'm not locked in on any ideological position. I want to be responsive to what our parents are asking for. And overwhelmingly, they've asked for not only for us to continue to have gifted and talented classes, they've asked for an expansion. And I understand the diversity issue, and that's part of the reason why our announcement said we're going to put gifted and talented classes in every district in New York City. So whether that district is in East Flatbush or Southeast Queens, they're going to have a gifted and talented program, which will ensure a level of diversity. We're getting away from this scarcity model. We only had a handful of seats, and everybody is just fighting for just a handful of seats in the system. We want to continue to expand on those.
Okay, good, because that was my next question was how are you going to kind of bring in a diverse group? But you just answered that question. And then lastly, we covered the troubling data on foster care, Chancellor, children and their education, right? High absenteeism rates, low graduation rates. So what do you do to make sure that those folks don't fall through the cracks here?
Yeah. It's a large system. These are some complex issues, but we're in the process right now of making some hires here centrally that are going to help us really be able to drill down on those issues and ensure that we're providing a level of support for our foster care students. Listen, it's tough enough having to grow up in foster care. It has its own set of unique challenges, but we're going to make sure as we go into next September that we have a team in place that is really going to be paying very close attention to those kids and their families and ensuring that they get everything that they need to get. We're steadily on that, but trust me.
Chancellor David Banks, always appreciate you being here. Great conversation. Did you draw any of those pictures behind you?
Not at all. This is a mural that was designed by a group of third graders.
Looks great.
Fifth graders, rather, at the Thurgood Marshall Law Academy in Harlem.
Looks great.
It's just wonderful.
All right. Thank you for being here on Picks and Politics. We'll talk to you soon because I know that a lot of parents are interested in more. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right.